Hello everyone and welcome to another video for chat application course. In this video I'm going to add a toolbar to our application, and I'm going to start with creating a new component here. Let's call this app toolbar, and let's import this in app.vue app toolbar, and that's it. And if you're using Visual Studio Code, you need to add these import lines manually in app.vue component. And then in app toolbar I'm going to start with adding data object, and for properties I'm going to add multiple properties here, which first one is login. We're going to use this to simply switch to login or register, and this property also got true as a default value. Next one is menu, which we're going to use this menu to simply show login or register form. And then we've got this btn loading, which we're going to simply set a state of buttons to loading to simply prevent user from clicking on them or just waiting to process get over. Next one is user form, which we will use this to simply login or register user. Let's duplicate and let's change this to password and change this to email, and the last one is name. Alright, everything looks great. Now let's add basic structure to our template. I'm going to start with adding the app bar, then v toolbar, chat app, v spacer. Now let's try to see the results here. Great, I've got this chat app. Now let's add our menu. As I already said, we're going to use this v menu from Vuetify to simply show login or register form. So I'm going to set menu as a value for v model, and I'm going to set this close on content click to false. Now read. Let's set this to 200 and offset x. Great, we need to add a button now to simply trigger this menu to show in our page. We can simply add the v button or button outside of menu, or just simply use template slot to show this menu. So I'm going to use template v slot activator, and we need to use on and attributes. Then here we can simply add our button. Then we need to bind attributes and apply on or v on, and then here we need to check in case user is not logged in. And also I'm going to add icon here, the icon mdi dash login. Great. We also need to add our map state to computed property. We're going to do this in a few moments. Let's add vcard class padding all 4. And then I'm going to add multiple text field, v model, user form, name, outlined, label, name. Great, let's duplicate this. Let's change this to email, password confirmation, type password. Let's copy and let's paste. Password confirmation and email. Great. Now we need to add multiple button, card actions, a spacer. I'm going to use this button to simply perform or start login or register process. btn loading, and for click event I'm going to call perform auth function, which we're going to also create this function in moments. Now for text button, I'm going to simply check in case login is true, we're going to show login, and in case it's not, we're going to show register. Now we need another button to simply switch between login or register form, so let's create this loading, btn loading, and for click event we're going to simply change login value based on the current value of property. Again, we're going to check in case login is true, we're going to show switch to register, and in case it's false, we're going to show switch to login. This should be good for now. Let's add our functions here. So we've got only perform auth for now, so let's add this. And let's keep this empty for now, just console log something. Great. Now we need to actually import in map state. Import map state from Vuex to simply check if user is logged in or not. Map state user state state user. Everything looks good for now. Let's check and see the result. Let's reload chat application. There is no button here, so this should be actually because we set the default value for logged in to true, and this is why we can see our button. Let's check. Yes, this is true. Let's set this to false here. Let's save, and now let's reload. Logged in is still to true. This is because we're actually saving user information in local storage, so I'm going to delete everything here. Let's reload again, and as you can see, this time I've got my button. Let's check. Great, I've got my form. Now we need to switch the form. Everything looks great here, but for login form we don't need this name and password confirmation, so let's apply a new condition here for our name and password confirmation. Copy and let's paste this here. Let's save and let's reload. Switch. Everything looks great. Let's also check our buttons to make sure there is no problem with our function. Something is also working, and that's pretty much everything we need for now. In next video we're going to complete authentication system for our chat application to simply add more features to this component.